Well, this week I would like to work with the simple sentence. Okay, that's why I'm sharing this PowerPoint presentation with you. I'm sure most of you can recognize a sentence and have an idea what a sentence is. Let's move on to the definition of a sentence. A full sentence always contains or implies a subject and a verb. If we look at this first sentence in the definition, we will see that it talks about the structure of the sentence as made up of a subject and a predicate. In fact, here they say a verb, not a predicate, since the verb is the key element within the predicate in English. It also has this or implies, okay, between brackets. You know, in English, there is always a subject. They don't have the structure which we use so frequently in Spanish, what we call sujeto tácito, all right? In English, we only omit the subject in the case of imperative mood, if you think of a command, like do the exercise, there is the omission of the subject you. You do the exercise. That's why the author includes or implies, all right, between brackets. Then it says a full sentence begins with a capital letter, and that's why we can all recognize where a sentence starts, and ends with a period, question mark, or exclamation mark, okay, depending on whether it is a statement, a question, or an exclamation. A second definition reads, a sentence is a grammatical unit, and we know that. We have seen the sentence is one of the grammatical units, and we have said that some approaches to the study of grammar take the sentence as the highest unit of grammatical analysis. So it is a grammatical unit which must contain at least one main clause. Well, this is a notion which is not so well known as the notion of sentence. That's why now we should move on to talk about the clause. All right, a clause is a group of words containing a subject and predicate. If we stopped here, we might think we are defining a sentence. But the thing is, we should go on. A clause then is a group of words containing a subject and predicate and functioning as part of a sentence. All right? Clauses belong into sentences. It may sound difficult, but let's look at how clauses are subclassified. Clauses may be either independent or main clauses, or dependent or subordinate clauses. If we think of independent clauses, all right, if you have just one independent clause, you have one simple sentence. The simple sentence is coextensive with an independent clause. This will be better with some examples. Sentence types. So we said that a simple sentence consists of a single main clause. If we have the sentence Susan left yesterday, in that case we have one sentence which consists of one clause. One main clause because it is a clause that can stand on its own. That it was the difference between the independent and the dependent clause. In the case of a compound sentence, you will have more than one clause. You will have two or more main clauses, two or more clauses that can stand on their own. Here I wrote, Susan left yesterday, but her dad stayed. If you look at this, you have a first main clause, Susan left yesterday. Then you have this word, which is a coordinating conjunction, and you have a second main clause, her dad stayed. This is a compound sentence. You have two or more main clauses at the same level. In the case of a complex sentence, we have one main clause, or we may have more, and one or more subordinate clauses. Let's have a look at the example. Susan left yesterday because she had to go back to work. If you take because she had to go back to work, you may recognize this as a structure with a subject and a predicate. But if you look at it, you see that it cannot stand on its own. This clause depends on the main clause. Susan left yesterday. We have two clauses, but one depends on the other, okay? They are not operating at the same level. Then we may go on and get into a combination of the last two kinds, and we may have a compound complex sentence. The structure would be two or more main clauses that would account for the compound part, and one or more subordinate clauses. Okay? There we have the complex side of it. Let's have a look at the example. Susan left yesterday, a first main clause, a coordinating conjunction, and a second main clause. But the second main clause, in turn, may be divided into a main clause, her dad stayed, and a subordinate clause, because he didn't have to go to work. Can you see that? Susan left yesterday, main clause 1, but within main clause 2, within the second part of this sentence, you may find a main clause and a subordinate clause. The idea now is to concentrate on the simple sentence. But I'm going to record a new video because this Screenomatic I'm using only allows for a certain period of time. So I will stop here and I'll make part 2. Okay?